Guys, we're live and we're back on the 2021 Kayo 230. Pretty much, if you guys were watching in the last videos, we were working on the carburetor and we were having an issue. Basically, customer replaced carburetor and looks like the jet needle was a little bent. So the tuning feels pretty much spot on right now at this point. But there's another issue. Pretty much the throttle cable, it's a little damaged. The end of the throttle cable where it goes into the throttle valve is a little damaged from when it was being installed by the previous. And also, even if it wasn't, this adjustment here is all the way maxed in. So with these types of carburetors, the way these bikes are set up, coming from China, a lot of these parts are universal. Some of them might have little differences as far as like labeling or color, but for the most part, everything's the same, whatever is made in those factories. And then if anything, it might just be relabeled or rebranded. So this is probably like a standard cable here, and it's just gonna be a little too short. So in this video, we're gonna go ahead and fire it up, see what it sounds like, kind of show or identify the issue that we're having with the, pretty much with the idling. I'll show you guys right now. And then we'll pretty much remove the carburetor and we'll go ahead and take a cable length measurement and then see if we can get it ordered. So haven't fired this thing up in a couple days. I'm pulling the clutch. Okay. Hey, what's going on, boy? It's pretty much spot on, though. It's like so minute. Yeah, this thing is pretty loud. So, being the throttle cable, it's like just barely right there. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and rip this apart here. All right. So it's going to be a little hot now. We'll go ahead and loosen this up if need be. Yeah, it actually runs pretty good, considering. Starts right up, holds a good idle. It's just the throttle cable tension isn't correct. And you can't make an adjustment here because it's all the way in. You should be able to kind of, but it's that and a combination of not being able to make a further adjustment, and the cable end itself is a little damaged. Okay. The throttle tube. All right. Okay. Let's see, hopefully I don't burn myself too much. Oh, yeah, we gotta loosen up that one too. Let's go ahead and hit this one. Should be good enough. Let's see if we can kind of pull this out just a little bit. Oh, I probably shut off the fuel valve. Fuel valve. Ugh. Getting a little ahead of myself here. Crack this loose. And we'll go ahead and drain the fuel. Go ahead and catch it in a pan. Just gonna drain that for a couple seconds. All right, sweet. Still going just a little bit. All right, we just got done riding the bike, so got to be careful. It's gonna be really hot, but we'll see if we can just kind of pull it out a little bit. Loosen this up a little bit. Huh. Probably be easier if I grab the headlamp. Lighting's a little on the poor side right now. So I can actually see what I'm doing here. So let me pop that back in. Might be easier if I take the clamp off. And this thing is really tight. I haven't quite warmed up yet. Bike's warmed up, but I'm not warmed up. And that's okay, because this thing is a Kayo. Okay. It's also pretty hot to be working with right now. Okay, take this back clamp off. That should probably give us enough room. There we go. So that's the trick to it. You definitely want to get this thing out. You almost got to take the clamp off first. If not, you'll be struggling with it. But you don't have to really disconnect your fuel line. We'll just come right here, pull the throttle valve off, kind of let that just hang. Then this. And that's what was damaged before. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. Just that little bit of bent right there. That's what could be holding our throttle open. So go ahead and pull this and just pull that cable right up on out. And basically we're going to just take a measurement here, see where we're at. Is our table long enough? So total cable length itself is around 36 inches. Total cable pull 41, and then what, from 41 to 36, that's 5 inches. So we got about 5 inches of cable pull. So I think the length is okay. I mean, it's maybe we could get something that looks like a pretty sharp bend, but that could just be from the way that the cable runs underneath the tank. These bikes right here aren't typically the best crafted here, so that cable, no, it looks like it should have enough room to bend at the top there. So we'll probably keep it at 36 unless there's something else. And once you get the throttle valve out, stick it back in so you don't accidentally drop it. Actually, if you want, go ahead and stick the spring and retainer in there too. Okay, should be good. So total cable length itself is roughly about 36 inches. With the to the cable end is just around 41 or just under 41, with about 5 inches of cable free pull length. So could go about this two ways. Could get something that's maybe 36 to 38 inches. Sometimes if you get it too long, like 40, 42, it might be a little too tall, and then that'll create other problems too. It'll bind in a different way than being too short. So from what I can see, 36 is probably going to be the best, but we need a cable that either has 5 to 6 inches of play. Minimum would be 5, and preferably something that has like 6 inches of pull that's adjustable. And typically when you're looking up a cable, you can determine that. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of research, and I'm going to go ahead and based off of these dimensions right here, we know the length of the cable itself, basically what would they call this, the cable guide or the cable sleeve, and then the actual length of the cable from barrel end to barrel end. You can get a length right here, and then this is basically the free length that it's able to pull. You can go that much, that much in or out. It has about 5 inches to play with here, maybe like 4 and a little bit under 4, depending on how what point you're measuring from at the barrel. But just to get like a rough estimate, measuring from about halfway on the threaded portion. And our cable's a little bent. So it's just under 36 inches, almost like 35 and 3/4. Our cable in here, it's around 40 and a half. Yeah, that looks like it's pretty lined up here. Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. So roughly a 36-inch cable, maybe 35 to 36 inches, maybe 37-inch tops. And then you're going to want something that has a total play of at least 40 and a half, but maybe 41 to 41 and a half if you can adjust it. And so we're going to look up the Nibby. They make throttle cables for these bikes here, which is pretty nice. So the throttle cable itself should match the carburetor, and it'll be a little bit more universal and adjustable for this Kayo here. So that's going to be in another video. We're going to go ahead and look up the part. I'm going to go ahead and link the product in the description. We'll go ahead and maybe tag it in the comment boxes so you guys can find it quicker. But once we figure it out, pretty much you should be able to just click that link. And basically, if you're working on a one of these Kayo 230s here and you're running into the same issue, or your throttle cable's bent, or maybe you don't like the black one, you want a different color. Pretty much we'll have the specs as far as the length, cable pull, the color. We'll go ahead and do the research so that way you can just go ahead and get the right part off the bat, without having to order and potentially get the incorrect cable. We'll do it right the first time by doing cable length measurements. So see, we got Chris David here. Chris Davis, how much do you have your throttle plate adjusted? Throttle tube could be sticking too. So that's the thing. I took this apart right here and cleaned it. If you watched at the beginning of the video before I took it apart, the cable was adjusted all the way in, and the adjustment, there's a coarse adjustment and a fine adjustment. They were basically maxed all the way in. And that's, I'm thinking with the cable end being slightly bent, that's kind of contributing to that little weird idling issue, because the bike idles just fine, if you hold the throttle, which probably stretches out this cable end here. But it'd be better to just replace it anyways instead of trying to take a pair of pliers and bend that back. We'll just put a new one, a better one on it, and adjust it properly. And what I mean by fully maxed out here is this is how it's basically put on. It was basically all the way in like that. So typically, if you want to take out the slack, you could kind of, this one's actually fixed right here. So this would get all the way screwed in. And then these right here, this 8 and 10 millimeter, I believe that's what, yeah, 8 and 10, you would loosen these up, and then you could go ahead and pull out, or, put some more tension or put some more slack in it. But it came off like this in that position, pretty much all the way maxed in, as far as, giving it a little bit more free play. And we're running into that issue. Throttle tube's been cleaned, inspected all that. Even put just a little bit of grease. I think I went over that in the last video. This is probably like on this Kayo right here. We pretty much came in with that idling issue, fixed the carburetor. We also tightened up the spokes. There was a loose spoke that completely came out, and the spoke was basically just dangling, and the nipple was inside the tire. So we went ahead and did that, put a new tube in for the customer. It's been over a week, and it's holding air just fine, so we're good. And customer originally plugged it from the outside with the tire plug into the tube, so that didn't work out. But we went ahead and put a new tube in it. Kind of took the ends off of that, tightened up the spokes, fixed that loose nipple, and should be good. The rear rim should be good at least. And then now we're just trying to get the carburetor issue fixed. The other thing too that I did is this is for the choke right here. Sometimes on some bikes it's like a hot start, but it's basically a lever. It's a lever for the choke plunger on the carburetor. This has a cable style choke, versus the Nibby that's currently installed on it just has a pull plunger type. Basically a pull plunger. So the original had one, but kind of the same issue. It was so short that I noticed just barely touching it would create make the idle change, basically just from barely touching it. And the adjustment was all the way in on that one too. So it's better just leave that one off. And on a good running bike, you shouldn't really even have to use the choke unless it's really cold outside. If it's, below like 55 degrees, cold morning in the winter, then yeah, for sure, you're probably going to want to use that choke to get a nice good start, so you don't drain your battery. But out here in Southern California, with how hot it gets, don't even need that choke. On a good, well-tuned carburetor, should, fire up the first start, kind of like how ours did, after making some carburetor repairs. So that's going to be next thing that we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get this throttle tube right here fixed up, and yeah, pretty much go from there. Compression release, yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah, like on I have another video of the WR I'm working on. Actually, typically the compression release is up here, but that's a funny one too. I'm making a members only video. They actually took off the decompressor lever and they put in a exhaust cam from a YZ, I think a YZ 250 that has the automatic style decompressor. So that's kind of interesting. You know, that's what I was kind of thinking too. Like there has to be a variation, but hold on, check this out. I have the original car. I thought I had the original carburetor here somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. You want to know what the only difference is that I can see? It's right there. Has a laser or electro anodized branding on the carburetor. It says Kayo. Versus this one right here has just the machined, just an embossed machine logo right there is what that is. So carburetors are nearly identical. The Nibby, the only difference I can see is this is the aftermarket. This comes with a coating on it. It's almost like cadmium plate, cad plated. It looks like, and this one right here looks like it could be clear coated or it could be just raw aluminum. It's kind of hard to say. It looks like it has a little clear coat on it versus this one right here. And the other thing is too is, let's see. So the intake on this one, the bell, is casted, and on the aftermarket Nibby, this one's actually polished. Looks like it's machined and then polished, which is kind of interesting. Intakes look identical. Yeah, but pretty much almost identical carburetors. I wonder why they're doing that. Actually, looks like there might be a little bit more porting on this one too. This one right here might be a little detuned. That casting seems to kind of restrict. It looks just a little thicker versus the aftermarket Nibby. This inner diameter here and how it tapers, it looks like it's more, there's less material, so more air volume can flow versus this one. And then look at the way they're manufactured too. This one only has 2 ports right here. The original one has 3. That's just a plug, so they drill it and they plug it for different circuits. So this is probably a emissions compliant carburetor right here. This is a performance carburetor. There's probably just the little differences between the two. It probably opens it up quite a bit. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily feel it, but who knows? Just that the fact that this one has a different hole in it and it's been plugged and blocked and that one doesn't have it. I mean, it's possible maybe different manufacturing, they just casted that circuit into this one without having to drill it. But typically that would imply this one has different fuel and air circuits than that carburetor right there, even though they look identical. So the fact that it runs, I don't have any running issues except for that throttle cable kind of hanging up a little bit there. Even if I turn the idle adjustment all the way out, it does the same thing, except it'll actually kind of shut off without the throttle being, without having the proper adjustment. So I guess that's gonna be the next step. We're gonna go ahead and order the correct throttle cable for this thing, and then we'll go ahead and install it, and then double check our work, make sure that it doesn't have too much idle hang or any idle hang. Should be resolved after that, and then we'll go ahead and take it out for a test drive and see if there's anything else we can tell the customer that needs to be fixed. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Love the commentary, like talking about bikes, working on them, fixing them. So if you already haven't, subscribe to this channel. I pretty much do live videos, and I also do more detailed members only videos where, depending on the bike and its popularity, I'll go ahead and do a valve adjustment tutorial or electrical diagnostics troubleshooting. So just all depends. If you're looking for motorcycle related content, this is usually filmed raw when I do my live streams. So anything could happen. I could drop this carburetor, or maybe I make a slight misadjustment, or I might, speak of something differently versus my premium edited videos. I'm going to take the time with my voiceovers and data and make sure that, I'm providing more detailed information. This is just mainly for fun here, kind of show what I do. But yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Whiskey throttle is a bad deal when arm pump is involved. Oh yeah, no, I've Shoot, especially on these things right here, they don't have the best suspension. So if you're an aggressive rider after like 2, 3, 4 laps, I mean, my hand gets pretty heavy on that throttle there. I don't even pull the clutch in anymore. I'm just straight shifting, And I just hold the throttle. I don't even let go of it. And I'll every now and then I'll eat shit from holding the throttle too much. But yeah, I gotta stay off the big bikes. Kind of have fun. Just keep it simple right now. I already broke my hip about a year ago racing on my 500. So for right now, 230 pit bike, full size pit bike. This right here is probably the most I would rip full throttle right now and risk the whiskey throttle. Yep, that's pretty much it. Alrighty, guys, stay tuned.